Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 5:45, and this is the Kennedale City Council regular meeting. Today is February 17th, 2026, and we are at City Council Chambers, 405 Municipal Drive, Kennedale, Texas, 76060. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, may I get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Brad Horton.
I'm here.
Place 1, Councilmember David Glover.
Present.
Place 2, Councilmember Thelma Kobeck.
Present.
Place 3, Mayor Pro Tem Kenneth Michaels.
Here.
And place 5, Councilmember Jeff Navarez.
Here.
They all are present.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to do our invocation and pledges of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. Councilman Navarez is going to lead us in our invocation, and Councilman Michaels is going to lead us in our pledges. If you'll please stand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please pray with me. Father God, we are blessed to have so many citizens in our room tonight. We ask that you continue to bless every one of our people that are within our city limits. We ask that you continue to give us loyal servants of the community like the Rotary Club, and we ask you to bless every one of them as well. We thank you for the candidates in the room who have stepped up to your call. We ask that you bless them in their process and continue to bless everybody in the city as we do this in Christ's name. Amen.
Pledge to the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. At this, we are going to move into our public comment section. The Kennedale City Council welcomes comments from the public. Those wishing to speak must sign in prior to the start of the meeting, or if you want to now, you can go ahead and sign in. Speakers may speak on any topic, whether on the agenda or not. The Kennedale City Council cannot act upon, discuss issues raised, or make any decisions at this time. Speakers under citizens' comments shall observe a 3-minute time limit. Inquiries regarding matters not listed on this agenda may be referred to staff for research and/or possible future action by the board. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Mayor, we don't have anyone to public speak on general items. They are signed up to speak specifically under items.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody wishing to speak now? If you'll sign in or make sure we get it. Okay.
Hello, my name is Tracy Hardy, and I live at 1406 Fern Court, Kennedale, Texas. And I have a public comment, and it's in reference to PZ case 2517, the Alta Landing apartment complex. I have over here, I have documents to be entered into the public record, to be made a part of the public record in reference to it. My comment is more than 3 minutes long, so I put it in a document. I also have photos that I wish to be entered into the public record to be recognized as part of that whole case. And then I'll speak again, I guess, at that time and try to get as much in as possible. But if you guys get a chance before you go and take your break, it's right here for anyone to take a look at, read over it, and look at the pictures if you decide to. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So at this, we're going to move into our presentations. And the first proclamation is for Mrs. Berta L. Fullwood. And this is a very, very special proclamation here. And if you guys want to go ahead and come up, I'll read it and then we'll come down. And so for everybody that does not know, Ms. Fullwood just turned 100 years old, is a citizen of the city of Kennedale.
was that?
Awesome. Whereas Ms. Bertha L. Fullwood was born on February 3rd, 1926, and has, over the course of a century, witnessed and contributed to remarkable changes in our community, state, our nation, and our world. Whereas through her dedication to family, friends, and neighbors, Ms. Fullwood has exemplified the values of kindness, perseverance, and service. Whereas she has shared a lifetime of wisdom, inspiring generations with stories, guidance, and a steadfast spirit. And whereas reaching the milestone of 100 years is a rare and extraordinary achievement, deserving of recognition, gratitude, and celebration. Therefore, I, Brad Horton, as mayor of the city of Kennedale, Tarrant County, and the state of Texas, do by here proclaim February 17th as Mrs. Bertha L. Fullwood Day. Congratulations.
Thinking of just sitting down there.
Yeah. There you go.
Good,
All right, so next we're going to present Ms. Lori Glovier with Community Leader of the Year. Family, do you want to come up as well or wait for pictures? However you want to do it.
Daryl, no speech?
No.
Oh. Not in my agenda, so I didn't know.
All right. So it is our honor to recognize this year's Community Leader of the Year, Lori Glovier, a woman whose dedication, generosity, and steady leadership have made a lasting impact on our community. While she's built an accomplished career as an MD trained in family practice, serving in roles that have included Air Force flight surgeon and healthcare leadership, it's her service beyond the exam room that truly sets her apart. As president and founding member of the Kennedale Rotary Club, She's helped cultivate a culture of service and collaboration. She's deeply involved in our school district, consistently supporting students and educators alike. Through her sponsorship of local fundraising efforts that directly benefit our students and school district, she demonstrates her commitment to investing in the next generation. She's also enriched our community's understanding of its past by serving multiple times as a guest lecturer for the Kennedale Historical Society. Through her leadership, volunteerism, and unwavering commitment to others, she exemplifies the very spirit of community. And we're proud to recognize Lori Glovier as our Community Leader of the Year. All right, so next we are going to recognize Judge Bill Lane in recognition of 24 years of service. Could not be here tonight, but again, we certainly want to recognize his almost quarter of a century years of service, serving the community with fairness, honor, and compassion. And thank you, Judge Lane. Sorry we couldn't be here tonight. Moving right along, we are now going to read a proclamation designating February as Black History Month in the city of Kennedale. Sorry, my chair keeps sliding out on me. Whereas Black History Month is an annual celebration of the history, culture, and achievements of African Americans, and whereas the observance of Black History Month provides an opportunity to honor the vital contributions African Americans have made to the development and progress of the United States, including in the field of civil rights, education, policies, art, science, business, and beyond. Whereas the city of Kennedale recognizes the importance of acknowledging the history and contributions of African Americans, as well as the ongoing pursuit of racial equality, justice, and empowerment. Whereas during this month, we celebrate the strength, resilience, and dedication of African Americans in our community, state, our nation. Whereas we encourage all residents of Kennedale to learn more about the achievements and struggles of African Americans and to engage in activities that promote unity, respect, and understanding. Therefore, I, Brad Horton, as mayor of the city of Kennedale, on behalf of the Kennedale City Council, staff, and citizens, do hereby proclaim the month of February as Black History Month.
Oh, nuts. Well, do we do the physical therapy? And the air conditioner or something.
Hot too. All right,
What is this?
moving right along. Next, we're going to then hand it over to our city manager to talk about our Kennedale Community Survey results. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, thank you. Ed, as you recall, most of you have taken the survey, and we finally got the results back from that. And I'm pleased to announce what our findings are. If we can get Kate, you want to come on up? And we have a presentation tonight to display what the results are from the survey itself. And we'll definitely be taking a look at it and see what we can do to move them forward. I think you'll be pleased to know a lot of the things in the survey the city has been working on for several years now. And I think as we move forward, you'll see that in the next year. I would say probably at least 70 to 80% of it you'll see probably in the next 6 months. So I'm pretty happy with that, to hear it from you that we're doing exactly what you expect of us, and we'll be moving forward. Kate, can you?
Great, thank you. Let's see, can you hear me? Everything's good? Well, Mayor, Council, I really appreciate the opportunity to stand before you and present what I find to be exciting and intriguing results, findings from the community survey. Before I get started, I want to introduce my team that's here with me. I couldn't have done it without them. It's Linda Pavlik and Alex Santillan, and I'm Kate Lattimore Norris. I'm with Pavlik and Associates. We are a local community engagement firm. We work on surveys and communications efforts all across the Metroplex, and North Texas is our home, and we're glad to be here. I also want to say about my voice, because I know all these illnesses are going around right now. I am not sick. I have a neurological disorder that makes me sound this way. It doesn't hurt. I'm not upset. There's nothing going on. This is just how I sound. And sometimes my voice might break up and I might take a minute to get a word out, and that's what's happening. So Before we jump into it, I just want to make a note that this survey provides us with a clear snapshot of how the residents experience Kennedale today, what they value most, and where they see opportunities for clear improvement. So I want to encourage you to think of it as more than just data in a PowerPoint presentation or on paper. What it is clear direction from the community on where they want to see Kennedale go next. So why does this matter? Well, this gives us the data-driven insights on what and how respondents think about Kennedale, and it'll help us with smart planning, budgeting, and long-range decision-making. I'm really excited to talk to you about the strong community engagement and the high level of turnout you all had. There was a total of 491 responses with 287 completed surveys. I did have a question before we started this, what the difference is between the total responses and the completed surveys. And all that means is once someone enters the survey and starts answering questions, we do collect that data. And when a survey is considered completed is when they hit that final button and just hit finish. And sometimes people get halfway through a survey, sometimes they get all the way to the end and don't hit finish. There are all sorts of reasons that this could happen. We try to throw out any responses that are less than about a third complete. Because sometimes that means people open the survey and shut it quickly, came back to it later or whatever. So if we're looking at anything over a third, we go ahead and pull those answers in and compile them with the others. And that gives you just a little bit of, to give you just a little bit of context for what this means. This is a strong turnout for a voluntary community survey. And so this volume supports reliable trend and priority analysis. In other communities of this size, we typically see 2% of the population count participating. 3% is really, really exciting. You all are at like 5.5-ish%, which is just really thrilling. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll get closer. Which is just really, really exciting. So respondents rated Kennedale most positively as a place to live and a place to raise a family. Ratings were more mixed for Kennedale as a place to work and visit. And this reinforces that Kennedale is primarily experienced and valued as a residential community. The respondents presented with a high confidence in core services. And the services that stand out are fire and EMS, police and public safety, and library. And this talks about this points to daily trust and stability. Comments in the open-ended section repeatedly describe their interactions with these entities as professional, responsive, and essential to the quality of life here in Kennedale. When we look at the other side, concerns were largely concentrated around daily experience issues, such as street maintenance and road conditions, youth sports and opportunities, and trail and walkability connectivity was right above kind of that neutral point. As far as the youth sports opportunities, I want to point out that this was not so much dissatisfaction with what is in place right now as much as it was looking for more opportunities. So I think that's really crucial to point out. And this is the really fun part for me, is when we start to kind of tease apart and understand what hometown feel is and what it means to people. When we do these surveys, we ask questions about hometown feel or small town or friendly town, because people have a lot of different ideas about what that means, right? And so to understand and get some data that's actually useful in making decisions for the city, we try to understand and dig a little bit deeper. So the responses we did gather from this survey were really emotional, but they still tied comments to tangible things like shared spaces, events, youth activities, and visible upkeep in the community. So the amenities and programming are how hometown feel is created and sustained here in Kennedale. This section on community priorities is really a synthesis across several of the questions. These themes came up repeatedly across all the question types, which if you took the survey, you'll remember that there were ratings. We asked about your priorities to rank priorities, and we also had some open-ended feedback. So the fact that these priorities came up in so many different question types is a good signal that they're not isolated opinions, but they're very consistent. And to dig a little bit deeper into these, we start to look at the infrastructure and the opinions expressed around infrastructure here in Kennedale were largely focused on affordability and street conditions. So affordability, neighborhood streets were at the top of the list. Respondents also talked about major corridors, naming several of those specifically. And when you look in the full report, you can get the streets there. But they also talked about safety, lighting, drainage concerns, again, in very specific locations. When we look at parks and trails, people were thoughtful about everyday use and connectivity. So respondents really are focused on more walking and jogging trails. Again, that looks back to, or if we think about what the responses about youth sports were, it was not so much here on walking and jogging trails dissatisfaction with what's in place as it was wanting more and wanting more connectivity. Connected sidewalks, safer crossings and lighting and comfort features. So like benches, shade, lights, maintenance, restrooms when appropriate. And that leads us into strong support for shared recreation and gathering spaces. There was a lot of conversation about these recreation and gathering spaces when we talk about hometown feel, and also youth sport events, places that build community. The number one priority in this area was indoor recreation or fitness facility. The priority score of 5.03, you'll see, I mean, it was considerably higher than priorities in other areas. So this like jumped way out when I was looking at this. Then additionally, there was emphasis on more community events and festivals, after school youth activities, and there was a strong emphasis on multi-generational spaces. When we talk about community life and that hometown feel, events and youth opportunities matter. Community life in Kennedale is shaped by shared experiences. And when we're talking about this, we're talking about community events, youth sports, and recreation opportunities, and they were repeatedly described as critical contributors to connection, belonging. Respondents also expressed a strong desire for activities and spaces that serve multiple age groups and support everyday participation. Water-based activities emerged as the highest ranked participation interest, reflecting demand for flexible options that support fitness, family use, again, multi-generational, and year-round recreation. And I was kind of tickled. I thought it was fun. Pickleball was the second priority there. So people are interested in pickleball facilities. When we do these surveys, we try to understand what the community feels or thinks about how they want the community to grow or not grow. And the respondents to this survey see benefit in growth, and they are focused on the character of that growth. So respondents are both proud of Kennedale, and they're very thoughtful about its future. This one quote here, Kennedale is an amazing place. It just needs some tweaks. There were several other quotes that were like that, but it really emphasizes that continued progress should focus on targeted improvements that enhance daily livability. And residents frequently ask for everyday retail and services, so things like your grocery stores, restaurants, basic conveniences, local. Everyone wants to stay and be local. We also looked at corridor improvements as a recurring theme, particularly related to appearance and again, lighting, and then also the notion of gateway aesthetics in your major routes. So respondents were consistently supportive of growth that strengthens quality of life rather than growth just for growth's sake. And across all the comments, there's a clear preference for a well-defined vision and one that connects new development to measurable community benefit, enhanced amenities, and preservation of Kennedale's character. So what does this all mean in looking at the opportunities ahead? This survey reflects a community that values Kennedale deeply. Respondents express pride in the city's character, high confidence in essential services, and clear priorities centered on infrastructure, connectivity, recreation, and again, everyday livability. These perspectives will give us a strong foundation for the city's continued planning and decision-making. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay, thank you.
All right, so with this, we're going to move into our public hearing, PZ case 25-17 to resume. Due to a conflict of interest, I'm going to step out and let the Mayor Pro Tem chair the meeting.
We'll need that hammer. At this time, we're fixing to start our public hearing part of the council meeting. But before we do that, I'm actually going to take our consent agenda for ordinance 791, which is going to be the same thing, PZ case 2517, and I'm going to move it up. So we'll actually have the public hearing, and then we'll have we'll hear from the applicant, and then we'll hear from the city, and then we'll vote on it. So at this time, Ms. City Secretary, is there anybody to sign up to speak for P and Z case 271719? And I'm open that at 6:17.
Mayor Pro Tem, yes, there are a couple of speakers. I will call back up Tracy Hardy.
Ma'am, just remember your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Tracy Hardy, and my address is 1406 Fern Court, Kennedale, Texas, 76060. I am here today to discuss some of my concerns with Alta Landon zone change. I am opposed of it because it don't meet the qualifications for PD zoning. It's non-compliant in multifamily also. Some of the requirements for PD is that one of the qualifying conditions is that it cannot have a parking lot located near the perimeter of the adjoining residence, which that is us. So the parking lot goes completely around our whole neighborhood. According to 9.1, also, they cannot seek that to avoid standards and requirements. The parking lot and the retaining wall are both attached to each other. The retaining wall don't meet the requirements because it was supposed to have a 5-foot wall, and it's like 10 feet tall. It's supposed to be set back like 10 feet, and it's crumbling. It's deteriorating. It's been deteriorating from the beginning. Within the first year, it started deteriorating. We began complaining. They come out and they patch it. The patch falls off. We got holes in it. It's cracks running through it. It's just deteriorating. It's falling apart. So I have pictures if anyone want to take a look at that. Bottom line because that parking lot is there in that area, it has caused a lot of problems with people parking right up next to the fence and people throwing trash over in our yard. We have flooding problems because of all the concrete. And in the beginning, we was told they was gonna put retention ponds back there to take care of the water. We have all kind of problems. But it don't qualify according to section 9.2 and 9.1, and then the qualifying conditions, which you guys already know that, in standards of approval in section 27 says a PD shall not be approved if it don't comply with each of the following. Well, it don't comply with what I just mentioned, PD 2, 9, qualifying 9.2, and also 9.1. It also changes the character of our neighborhood. And under the purpose of Kennedale's UDC, it affects our health, our safety, and our welfare. We've already had one vehicle go over into the someone's yard. Going to PD doesn't fix anything. It just erases the fact that everything there that's wrong is no longer exists once it go to PD. So once it go to PD, if we have problems later on, we have nothing to come back on. And it's not if that retaining wall will fall, it's a matter of when that retaining wall will fall. And we won't have nothing to hold them accountable. The apartment owners are required to know the state rules, the local rules, and the UDC code. And over the time, the city, during many conversations, have acknowledged that they knew from the beginning that it was being built wrong.
Pardon
Not-
me, your time is up.
Okay. I asked you to deny the PD request.
Mayor Pro Tem, we do have another speaker. Mr. Bill Dahlstrom is here.
Would you like to speak on the public hearing part of it, or do you want to speak as the application?
As the applicant, sir, thank you.
Is there anybody else that's willing to speak on the public hearing part of this? If not, we'll close the public hearing at 6:22. And we will go into items of consideration. Sorry, people, I got to get organized. And we will hear from our community developer.
How do I get the slide presentation? How do I do that?
There we go.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. This is P and Z case 25-17. The site is depicted on the aerial that you see in front of you. This is on Joplin Road, sort of in the northeast portion of the community, kind of at the extreme northeast portion of the community. These are some pictures of the site. This is the location. The current zoning of the property is multifamily. The request is for multifamily planned development. So essentially, it will be the same underlying zoning with some modifications to the multifamily standards. This is a depiction of the current land use plan in this particular area. You will notice that this particular area is intended in our current land use plan for residential high density. This is a depiction of the current site plan, and this is a layout of the existing facilities. This is proposed by the applicants, and this will be the pattern that they will be required to develop to if the planned development district is approved. As I said, this is a requirement, this is a request to modify this property from its current zoning to a planned development district. Essentially, there was some challenges in this site in terms of when it was constructed. The planned development district would resolve those current non-conforming issues
that are present on the site to deal with those so that we won't have a continuing non-conforming situation there. The applicants have provided a number of additional elements to the site and amenities, if you will, per se, from what would otherwise be required in the typical multifamily standards. For example, they are putting in some screening fences along the perimeter of the property. They are also moving a current dumpster location, which is adjacent to the single-family property, which is to the west. They are moving that so that that dumpster facility is on the eastern portion of the property, closer to Joplin Road, so it would be less impactful for the neighbors than it currently is. As a part of that, I understand that that construction is actually occurring. We've issued the permit for that now, so it should be well underway in order to accomplish that. Staff has concluded that this proposal is consistent with the current comprehensive plan. There is information in your packet that was created by my predecessor prior to that for your information. And I will, I've got copies of the actual plan development district regulation standards here on the board if you wish to detail those in great discussion. Other than that, I will just note that this was heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission. They did recommend unanimously in favor of this request. There were notifications sent out in relationship to this as required by state law, both in newspaper advertisement and in individual letters to property owners. This chart reflects the information we have received in terms of protests. You will see all of those that have indicated that they are protesting are indicated with the letter Y and the color red, so it's easy to distinguish between them. When you add all of that up, the total amount of land area within the protest notification area calculates to 52%, 52.67%. And so the 60% rule that you may be familiar with in terms of protests do not apply in this particular case. We can certainly discuss that if you'd like to at length. It was a fairly new provision that came into state law with this last legislative session. Prior to that, a 20% opposition would have required a supermajority vote. Now, since this proposes an increase in residential capacity, the state has limited that so that a 60% protest is required to require an actual majority vote is all. So the legislature significantly reduced the impact of local property protests in the last legislative session. So if you have any questions about that, I will be happy to talk through it, or our attorney can as well. Other than that, I will just recommend that staff is supporting this request this evening, and I'd be available to answer questions that you might have for me.
Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you, sir. Now we'll have the applicant.
Click down on,
Just rotate
down.
Rotate down toward you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Bill Dahlstrom, 2323 Ross Avenue. I'm here on behalf of Wood Partners, and it's a real privilege to be here on behalf of a nationally recognized, award-winning developer of high-quality multifamily developments. I'd like to thank staff for all the work they've done on this, Ed and Mr. Hull. I'd like to thank council for their patience with us and moving forward, P&Z, and the neighbors. We spent a lot of time with the neighbors. We had meetings. We walked the neighborhood, visited with some of the neighbors, had some really good recommendations from them and incorporated them into our application, to our changes. We've come a long way on this application. It is a substantially better application than it was when we first came in months and months ago. But as was stated, we're trying to make this conforming. And I've been advised that the Alta Landing is the highest paying taxpayer in the city. We want to keep it that way. And it's really integral for us to get the zoning, to make it conforming, to maintain that. A few items worth noting in the staff report that Ed mentioned. The request is consistent. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan. That's very important. I'm an attorney, but I'm also a planner. Looking at the comprehensive plan is number one, and we are consistent with the comprehensive plan. The staff report says we're consistent with land use compatibility as well. We're not asking for any additional units. Basically, this is an existing facility. I would say that what we're proposing as far as zoning goes is to allow what's there, but we've enhanced the development. We've strengthened the development standards that run with the land. It is law. So all the development standards in the PD conditions are law and are enforceable. And I'll get into those a little bit later. As Ed mentioned, we had a unanimous recommendation of approval from the P&Z, and we had a recommendation of approval from staff. And again, just for orientation purposes, you all seen this several times before, so I won't spend much time on it, but it's an existing development. We aren't asking for any additional units. What we are asking for directly responds to the comments and recommendations of both staff and the neighbors that we've visited with. After our P&Z hearing, we met with the Steeplechase Neighborhood Association on December 2nd, 2025. And I'll tell you, I've been doing this for a very, very long time, almost 40 years. We received an ovation walking out of that room that night because of the changes that we had already implemented and the changes that we said we were going to implement that since then have occurred. We reached out to the neighborhood representative after that meeting, asked for more meetings. We sent an invitation to neighbors on January 12th. We actually visited with a couple of neighbors in the neighborhood and made some modifications to our PD conditions that make it, again, a better development. We sent out another invitation on February the 2nd, and then on February 4th and February 11th, we went out and walked the streets and knocked on the doors to get to as many neighbors as we could get. So, and our office has always been open, has always been open. I actually stopped at Miss Hardy's house and gave her my card, and I didn't hear back from her. But one of the things that we've done, I had mentioned we moved the dumpsters. The dumpsters were in the northwest and southwest corners of the development adjacent to single family. We elected to go ahead and move those to the northeast corner. That took some time because there was a drainage channel there, a catch basin, and there was some grading that needed to be done. We needed to get a permit from the city, which we, as Ed mentioned, we did receive, and this is under construction. So we expect this to be done by March 1st. We added an 8-foot fence along the sidewalk, the southwest driveway, which is adjacent to the single family. So again, we've got a sidewalk, the driveway, an 8-foot fence, an open area, and then another fence down adjacent to the single family. I will show that in the plan later. That has been completed. An 8-foot tall fence on the south and west sides, that's been completed. Maintenance of a no man's land. So we've got this retaining wall, and then there's the single family fences, which is along our south and west sides. People have referred to that as our no man's land. We've gone in, we've maintained it, we've cleared it out. It is clean, and you'll see that when I get to it, a picture of that. So that's been done. Add a gate to the entrance to the no man's land. That was requested of me in one of the meetings I had on the site. We walked the site with one of the residents. He said, close off the entrance to the no man's land and put a gate here. So we did that, and you'll see the results of that, which was completed within the last couple of weeks. Large trees on the apartment property near the fence. We have added 26 trees to the property. And I'll show you a landscape plan, which we have been asked to attach to the zoning ordinance, the PD ordinance, which will, again, run with the land. So that landscape plan will be part of the law. Add a drainage flume. The issue of drainage came up. At first, it was discussed to put in a French drain, but the contractor said, you don't want to put a French drain back there. It'd be better to put in a flume that catches the water and takes it to a catch basin. So we went ahead, designed a flume, and it has actually been built. It is finished. It is constructed. No multi-level parking structure. We agreed to that. That's been included in our PD conditions. We will not be able to do a multi-level parking garage. Address erosion. We have addressed erosion on the site as well, in addition to the grading for the drainage ditch and for the flume. That's been completed. Annual meeting with the HOA and property management. We have agreed to do that, and that's incorporated into the regulations. No parking on Joplin, which is our front door. Quite frankly, I believe that might be the city of Arlington's issue, but we're agreeable to that. That doesn't bother us. We will support that. No commercial vehicles parked overnight. Quite frankly, that's one of our standards today, and we are enforcing that. No commercial vehicles can be parked overnight. No carports allowed in the PD. We have agreed we would have no carports. At one point, we were going to propose carports. We've agreed no carports, and that is a condition we added to the plan development regulations. So that again is law. That will be enforceable. We lowered the lights at the request of the neighborhood association. We installed LED lights. That's been completed. We added guardrails. I know there was the question came up about a car encroaching beyond the parking. We've added a guardrail, and that guardrail incidentally has been shown on our site plan, which again is going to be part of our ordinance. So that guardrail has to be there. It's already in. Add trash valet. We've added trash valet service for our tenants. The site plan Ed mentioned, one of the neighbors I visited with asked us if we would include the site plan as part of the PD. Yes, absolutely, and that's been done. The fence is to be stained every 5 years. That was a request of staff. We were definitely agreeable to do that. We will stain the fences every year. The retaining walls to be inspected every 2 years. That was another request. Yes, that has also been drafted into the PD conditions. The dumpster move was actually, we were asked by one of the residents, one of the neighbors, to put that in the PD conditions, and we went ahead and did that, as well as the drainage improvement, the flume. So yeah, with the cooperation and assistance of the city staff and the input from the neighborhood, Wood Partners has done a lot already. This isn't to be done. This has already been done, except for moving the dumpsters, which is in process. And again, here's the site plan. This site plan, I know it's really hard to see, but it does show our 8-foot fences along the west and south sides. It shows the 8-foot fence. You can see my cursor over here. So there's another 8-foot fence right here hugging this driveway. So cars coming down here, their lights are blocked and can't, this is a grade change here. The lights can't go beyond that 8-foot fence. The guardrails are here and here. This shows the, again, the guardrail, the closures to the no man's land is back here and up here. The closure has been installed here, and there's another opening over here that is for a gate. We have to have access to the no man's land to maintain it because our commitment to maintain the no man's land. This is our landscape plan that again will be part of the ordinance. So we have in the PD, we have the conditions, which are the conditions I just mentioned as far as the uses, setbacks, and the development standards, and some of these other types of standards like no carports, no multi-level garage parking. So in addition to the PD standards, we will also have 2 drawings attached to the ordinance. One will be that site plan we just looked at that has all those other requirements. We will also have the landscape plan that shows the additional enhanced landscaping, the additional trees that we have already planted. So this will run with the land. This basically shows the men at work putting in the 8-foot fence and putting in the 26 trees that we have around the south and west side of our property. Again, the 8-foot fence that has been constructed and been installed. This shows the gentleman maintaining, taking out the trash that was in the no man's land. And on the right, you can see the footers for the flume. And here is the flume. A couple of weeks ago, we took these pictures. Again, it is already built. This is the one on the left is the opening that was to the no man's land. Behind the tree, you can see a wooden fence. That was open. That wasn't there previously, so that allowed folks to free access to the no man's land. Again, one of the residents who lives back there asked us to put up that fence to block it off, so it is totally blocked off. Further down in this location, you can see my cursor, we've installed the gate so that we do have access to maintain that no man's land. And this is the really expensive and extensive work we're doing on relocating the dumpsters. This, it's hard to get an appreciation for this, but If you look in the picture on the right where the tractor is, that was a catch basin. It was a sewer, like a storm sewer. So we've had to go in there and raise that level, change the drainage, get city plans approved, our plans approved by the city for relocating that dumpster in that location. This is the work that's currently being done. Very extensive work to move the dumpsters from the southwest to northwest corner. Again, we had a proposal. We visited with the neighbors. We've tried to maintain as much communication as we can. I appreciate the folks who have come out and spoken and met with us. Mr. Sheffrin was here at the last council meeting. I really appreciate that. But we think that what we've ended up with is a better development with all these improvements, a better development for the city. So again, we respectfully request that you follow your Planning and Zoning Commission and your professional staff's recommendation of approval and approve this application. Ryan Miller and Todd McCullough, both from Wood Partners, are here in the audience if we have any specific questions for them. Again, I really appreciate all the work everybody has put into this. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? None? Well, I do. I was looking at a picture that Miss Hardy brought in, and I know in the PD, we talked about the retaining wall. And looking at this, I don't think it can wait another 2 years before we get an engineer to look at it. So is there any way that we can get this done like quick?
May I approach Mr. Michaels? I haven't seen those pictures.
Okay. I just saw it tonight. And I've also read her statement saying that there's cracks already, that every time they repair it, it falls apart. So it sounds like they're just putting grout in. So,
Mr. Miller advised me that this hole is a weep hole, which is a common practice in construction of walls so that water can weep through the wall. And
you would put a piece of pipe in there, not just chip the rock out. That's not a weep hole.
well, there may be pipe in there I can't see, but
Members of council, Ryan Miller, 10918 Wonderland Trail, Dallas. And the answer to the question about having the retaining wall inspected, remember, we were here last fall, and that was a request last fall. And we had that inspected. I know there's documentation. I'm sure we can dig it up, but it has been inspected within the past year. We're committing to re-inspect this every couple of years as needed. But we build retaining walls like this all of the time. You should see, we've got a project in Garland right now, Alta Firewheel, and I bet that retaining wall is 40 feet tall. This is a professionally engineered wall. We do these all the time. I don't know what this particular picture is. I mean, who's to say somebody didn't try to sabotage it? I don't know. But this is a completely engineered wall. We do these a lot. And again, we're committed to having them inspected on a, every couple of year basis.
If I could ask, when you do the inspections every 2 years, is an engineer coming back out to do the inspection?
Yes, that is a certified engineer that's doing the inspection.
Okay.
This isn't one of our construction guys just walking down, through no man's land.
Mr. Mayor, they only have one picture that I had as well. You have several different ones, which I just only took that one because I have several in my email. Meaning they're not looking at the same picture as you. Some of those pictures were different. Yeah.
We have some others over here. I think he wants to see them first.
That's a weep hole.
Yeah, we've got a report for it.
Councilman Michaels, again, we've had those walls inspected within the last year, and we're committing to continue to have them regularly inspected.
Anybody else have any more questions? Okay, we're at this time. Can someone entertain a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 791, PZ case number 25-17.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You second it? Glover? All right, let's cast our votes, maybe?
City Secretary, I do not have a ballot or the ability to vote on the iPad.
Mayor Pro Tem, unfortunately, we have 2 members that show a vote and 2 members are not coming up for some reason. I don't know how you want to continue the vote.
Mr. Mayor, can we do the vote by hand, please?
All in favor, raise your hand. All against? Motion carries 3-1.
Pro Tem Council, thank you very much. We will be on that wall, sir.
Mr.
At
Mayor,
this time, we're going to take a
Mr. Mayor,
short
can we just
recess.
go ahead and take a 5-minute recess while we
If you
change?
let me finish, I will just
I
say
beat you
that.
to the button.
Okay. At this time, we're taking a 5-minute recess. You know what it is? If you have a CMO, you know this stuff.
All right, it is 6:52. We're going to go ahead and resume again. And this leads us to our public hearing, PZ case number 2520, to conduct a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from R1 to planned development. It's 6:52, and I'm going to go ahead and open up our public hearing. Madam Secretary, do we have anybody wishing to speak?
Yes, sir, we do. We have Crawford McMacklin.
Good evening, everyone. Crawford McMackin, 1900 Malabar Road, Fort Worth, Texas, 76116. I'm speaking in favor today, but I would just like to rebuke one of the recommendations from P&Z as a condition for approval for this case. P&Z recommended that the pads for manufactured houses be put on concrete foundations, and that it's not a setup requirement from TDHCA or TMHA, and all manufactured homes come with something called a DAPIA, and it is essentially, can everyone hear me? It's essentially a quality assurance manual for home setup. So, and it gives requirements for footing sizes needed for specific, what's called a soil bearing capacity when there's a soil test. And licensed installers in the state of Texas that are licensed through TMHA and TDHCA have to set up homes in compliance with the DAPIA, with the manufactured housing company, with the manufacturer of that specific home. And every home that we purchase, it does come with the home, and we give it to the installer. That way they know how to set it up properly. And another couple reasons are just compacted dirt. As far as the utilities go to the home, it makes repairs much easier for the homeowner to do. And then also the underside of a home for a manufactured home to prevent water leakage and water seepage is it needs to be convex or crowned. That because just to avoid water damage, and that's much more difficult to do with a concrete foundation, as well as if there is ground shifting, you have to have the whole foundation adjusted. So those are kind of my reasonings there. And it'll also, the cost of the foundation and the cost of repair, those are just things as far as the tenants and the owners of the home. Those are just things that will increase both repair cost and price of the actual home for them when they're not required by state or federal regulations, according to the DAPIA. And then on kind of a side note, I did notice in our ordinance number that it does say that carports at each home aren't to be greater than 10 feet wide by 20 feet deep. We do not supply, or our company will not supply the carports for the company or for the purchaser of the home, but we will supply them with a 20 by 20 concrete driveway in the just cost of the home, and would like to rebuke that just to give them the opportunity if they would like to cover up their whole driveway. So that's it for me. Does anyone have any questions?
So kind of working backwards. So to your last comment, you would want to offer the ability to,
Before we do that, sorry to interject. Do we have any other speakers with this being the public hearing portion? All right. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at about 6:57 PM. And we'll open it up for questions.
all right. So again, you're asking for an exception to the carport from, instead of it being limited to 10 feet by 20 feet to 20 feet by 20 feet, because you're pouring a slab for the driveway today?
Yes, sir. We're pouring a 400 square foot concrete slab. So I just want to give the owner of the home the opportunity if they would like to cover up both of the whole thing so they can have both cars covered.
Okay. And Mr. McCrory, could I have you to come back over just one quick second? I have one question for you. The land in question, it's sandy in nature, right?
Well, it's less sandy now than it was before they took a lot of the sand out, but yes,
But
substantial.
Right. I think my question would be, there's not a lot of other use cases for the soil, given its sand content, to build anything of structure, of substance, like a full house or commercial property on that with the current soil structure. Would that be feasible, or is this the better use case for that land?
In terms of the type of housing that they're proposing,
Yes.
yes, the likelihood is that given this was a mining facility where sand was extracted and then additional loose soil, et cetera, was added back onto this, they didn't go down to bare rock, okay? So what's called the PI, or plasticity index, of the land is probably, that's basically how spongy it is, if you will, is probably such that it would be less suitable for single family homes because it would require significant interventions in the ground in order to harden it, if you will, for that purpose. So yes, this appears to be a much better utilization of that ground in terms of the applicant in this particular case would have extraordinary costs greater than what would typically be expected for a single family home or for another industrial use.
And to the comment on the recommendation from V&Z to put the homes on a concrete pad, what's your feedback on that?
Well, initially, we believe that that's a preferred option, generally speaking. However, as the applicant indicated, there are some challenges with that, especially with water vapor, et cetera. If you're going to do that and you're going to put skirting around these units, then they would have to have a water vapor extraction to keep that moisture from building up in there. It would damage the underside of the particular units. So there's some validity to what they're saying in that regard. It is also true that concrete is denser, and so the likelihood of settling increases to a greater extent. Staff is not opposed to reducing or eliminating that standard so long as adequate piers are provided in there for anchoring purposes.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'll do a quick follow-up with that. You're talking about adequate piers.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about like adequate piers, like along the coastline kind of thing where it's deep.
No, that's the term that they use for anchoring. They typically put either steel bars down into the ground to a certain extent and then attach that to these manufactured homes. Those are either a solid steel, or in some cases, they actually put concrete wraps around those. Depends on the nature of the conditions in order to basically, along the boundary of the home, there are basic elements that are put into the ground, like you would see at a coast where you have an elevated house that's above the beach with wooden stakes in the ground. That's in essence what we're talking about here.
That's what I said. Are we concerned about wash though? About, we just had 2 inches the other day in like an hour. If we don't, some of these kind of concrete pads can help curb that, especially when you put something in that area that's of weight.
There's benefits and detriments to each one of these particular engineering tactics or procedures, if you will. A lot of that can be particular to specific site conditions. As a general rule, I believe concrete pads is typically superior, but there are circumstances where if they put in alternates, they will certainly meet state specifications for state safety criteria. The big issue you're looking for here is, number one, will the ground support the weight of the unit, right? And you're dealing with things like high wind, right? So the unit will not be tipped over, et cetera, in high wind conditions.
So my understanding of this development too, there was going to be like maybe a community pool. Is there any concerns about that, or is that not happening anymore?
Now, there's a list of amenities. They show in their concept plan the provision of a pool, I believe, in there, and they would be required to comply with that plan. If you have concerns about that's not adequately addressed, you could certainly add that as a condition in your approval.
I'm sure some of it's naivety on my part that, we picture a sand pit. I think Mr. Glover is picturing the kind of same thing. So we just want to make sure that when we redevelop this area, it's not going to be dilapidated in 15 years, which I'm sure the applicant wouldn't want property that does that. There was also talks of maybe an HOA for the area. Is that in the PD, or do you know anything about that?
No, typically HOAs are private matters between property owners, if you will, and the people that are buying the property or leasing the property. It's our understanding that this will be a community that's owned by a single unit. And so an HOA, quote unquote, would not be really feasible given that the individuals don't actually own the property, they're just leasing it.
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
And how many units are we talking about?
Right now, we're looking at between 340 and 350 units.
And these would be rentals?
Yes, ma'am. And to go off Ed, so it's actually a land lease. So they would own, we would set up the manufactured housing, do landscaping, 20 by 20 driveway, front, back porch, whole 9 yards, interior and exterior skirting, have licensed setup crews and licensed installers. So they would buy the home. And then because it would be on leased land, it's considered personal property and not real estate.
So they own the home, but not the land?
Yes, ma'am.
350 units.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question might be for Christian, and that's regarding that kind of traffic on Dick Price Road.
Right. To answer your question about that, we have several discussion on Dick Price Road. Right now, Dick Price Road is to deal with the traffic, but right now it's handling the traffic for all those dumpsters, so that's good. So if it could handle the truck traffic, it could handle the vehicular traffic as it is right now.
Thank you, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And let me interject for the record, just in case we didn't mention it, we are considering ordinance number 792 right now. Go ahead.
Also want to add in the PD itself, they will also be adding a lane to Dick Price in front of their property for the PD to help with that congestion that may or may not be there.
And that's going to be the responsibility of the developer.
That's correct.
Okay.
They're also on the side is Green Circle, which currently is a gravel road, and they will be doing improvements up to that one as well.
So are you holding the standards, excuse me, of the area as well as far as walkability, size of streets, sidewalks, some of the goals that we've had and was on the evaluation we just did? We're just making sure that the PD is following that. Okay.
Absolutely.
And Christian, since you're up here, any concerns with sewer or water in that area in terms of this additional load placed on the system?
At this time, no.
Okay. Do we do an impact study on this?
No, not at this time now. But based on the capacity that we have out there, we have enough capacity for water and sewer for the new development.
Thank you.
This is also at the end of our sewer improvements we're doing, right? The whole basin? So us upgrading the sewers probably made this possible.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? Go ahead.
Name's Ross Melton, 500 West 7th Street, Fort Worth. I'm the civil engineer, and we're assisting the owner who's developing this property. I just wanted to mention, based on some of the questions, that Green Circle that was mentioned just previously, that we are providing some improvements to. I believe that's essentially or effectively the city limit line. We are, as far as improvements, not just adding that additional paving lane to Dick Price Road to alleviate any congestion that's created by our, people stopping to turn into our development. But we're also extending the water line down Dick Price Road, approximately 4,000 feet. which effectively extends the city's water system to the city limit line. So I did want to bring that up. That's a very substantial cost. So Green Circle, the additional drive lane in Dick Price Road, and substantial water line extension that does, kind of complete the city's water system until y'all annex, further to the south. But anyway, just wanted to mention those things as things that the developer owner is doing to, make this more tenable to, the residents and to the users that drive up and down Dick Price every morning and every evening, So anyway, just wanted to throw in my couple of points. If y'all have got any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any other questions, comments?
I have some questions. I'm looking at your concept, I guess your site plan, and I can see what are roads, but what is in between the lots? Is that a sidewalk or?
No, go ahead.
Yes, those are alleyways for rear entry. So for those, it will have parking via that alleyway instead of.
So everybody will drive down the alley and then park,
Yes, sir.
and then you won't have anybody parking off the main road?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So there
and
wouldn't be
then,
any, so that there can be a fire lane or whatever there needs to be.
okay, so that explains why you want to do a 20 by 20 carport instead of a 10 by 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? None. I will entertain a motion.
Clarifying question, do we need to amend the recommendations if that are listed from P and Z?
Or you can strike them out. So if it's item C.
That's what I would suggest in making the motion. You approve it as shown. The applicants have requested, specifically striking out the requirement for a concrete pad, if you're so inclined, and then it would just simply go back to the state standards, and then allowing for the larger carport as they requested. Striking that and replacing it with the carport size that the applicant has requested. So two modifications in your recommendation or in your motion.
We got that.
It's going to be D1 and scratch the 10-foot and do a 20-foot. And then if we're looking at the concrete site plan, that's going to be item E of the PD, and we can just scratch that.
Yep. We're waiting. There's no motion.
I would like to make a motion, we approve P and Z case number 2520, striking line E on pad site, and on item D, parking, maximum of one carport needs to be changed to 20 by 20 carports.
Mr. Mayor, I second.
All right, and
If I can interrupt, just for the record, what your actual motion is actually approving ordinance number 792, not the P and Z case.
Oh,
do we need to restate the motion?
As long as the council members understand what his motion was, he wants to read.
Everybody. Is everybody clear? I believe the council is in fact clear. All right. So are we iPadding our vote? All right, council, please cast your vote.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not certain why the votes aren't showing up on the TVs, but I can tell you the motion did pass 3-1 with Councilmember Kobach voting no.
All right, so the motion passes.
Well, Mayor, City Council and city staff, we're really appreciate y'all's time and look forward to developing this thing and expanding y'all's city.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we're going to move back to our reports and announcements, and we're all over the place tonight. So first off, updates from the Kennedale City Council. Councilman Navarez, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items. We were all iced in together this past month, being out amongst the city and talking to city leaders. Everything went pretty smoothly around here. We had no infrastructure worries like we did the last time, probably because we had a full breakdown the last time, and now we have mostly new stuff. But everybody was safe, very minimal calls, and it seemed like everybody just kind of snowed in like the rest of us. I went to the city banquet. I just want to thank for everybody, the staff, and everybody who put that on. It's always a good time to celebrate our city staff and what they do. And it seems like there was more activity this year, more participation, a little bit louder in the noise in the room, and it just seemed like a good, fun time. And congratulations to Mr. Michaels for winning the Councilman of the Year. And then a quick announcement: we have the I believe it's the 15th annual chili cook-off coming up, hosted by the Rotary Club on February 28th. You can get tickets through the online, and you can check that out on our Facebook page. I have signed us up as a participant this year, and a little bit changed from last year. I have a secret recipe that has won my friend's father's chili cook-off for 30 years in Texas, so he's going to give it to us. So hopefully we can take down the trustees this year. Thank you.
Councilman Michaels.
I did attend the city banquet, and it was fun this year. We had a blast with the gambling and everything, and everybody that got awards. I mean, they well deserved. I also attended Death by Chocolate in Emerald Hills. Every year, it's fun, and but it's just different when you go to a cemetery and you're eating chocolate. But and I guess that's about it.
Thanks, sir. Councilwoman Kobach.
First of all, so sorry I had to miss the employee banquet. I had a pretty serious family emergency. I did want to shout out to City Manager Hull and city staff and emergency services for reaching out, interacting with other communities and with entities within the community, so that we did seem to have things pretty well covered during the ice storm.
Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy Fat Tuesday, everybody. I also attended the Kennedale Employee Awards dinner. Just want to say thank you to the staff and the first responders who keep our city running. And I'll be partnering up with Councilman Navarez on the chili cook-off this year.
All right, and just for the sake of time, just want to wish the Kennedale men's basketball team luck as they begin their state title defense tonight. So, yeah, Duncanville High School, I believe. All right, so moving on, we are now going to recognize Councilman Kenneth Michaels. And I'm going to read this press release. The City of Kennedale Mayor Pro Tem Kenneth Michaels has been awarded the TML Certified Municipal Official CMO designation in recognition of his commitment to continuing education. TML's CMO program requires 60 hours of approved training with at least 30 CEUs of in-person training and a minimum of 1 CEU and 5 core competencies, which includes ethics, finance, governance, Open Meetings Act, and the Public Information Act. The Texas Municipal League is a voluntary association of 1,171 cities in Texas, and the city of Kennedale is a member of this Texas Municipal League. Congratulations, Councilman Michaels. No? Okay. Yeah, you did it. That's. Make a motion to go down. All right, I guess go ahead and let the city manager give us an update.
No updates from me this go around. Thank you.
All right, Director Horton.
All right, good evening. I'll start off with the general fund. Our property tax revenues, that we're just under 86% of budget. This time last year, at the end of January last year, we were just under 89%. If you recall, we had a pretty big gap last year or last month when we were doing the prior year comparison. That gap closed as expected. Our sales tax revenues at 14.8% of total budget. This time last year, we were at 15%, so very close on that. General fund expenditures at 28.7. We are ahead of pace given that we're 33% through the year. This time last year, we were at 30% to budget. Our fund balance, we're at 183 days or about 50% on our reserve. Water fund sales, we're a month behind, so 19% with water and 30% with sewer. Our expenditures for utility billing and operations, it went up to 50.6%. This time last year was at 43%. The bulk of that is due to a true up for FY25 activity with Arlington on operations. We're in a blackout period with the audit where we're not allowed to shift things to a prior year. So that'll probably get shifted to FY25 once the audit's complete. But we made an agreement with the auditors after a certain date to not make any prior year adjustments. With the stormwater fund at 22.8, a month behind on reporting there, so we're fine. Our expenditures are at 28.5, so we're ahead of pace there. Finally, getting down to the EDC, the sales tax at 17.3%. This time last year, we were at 12, so a little ahead of pace with the EDC. Rental fees for the shopping center at 32%, right on pace with the 33% point in our year. Our operations, 39.8%. We're ahead of pace on that just due to debt service payments that we have made. And our EDC town center shopping center expenditures at 23, so we're ahead of pace on that. Our fund balance is at 1.9 million. Do you have any questions? All right, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir. Next, moving to our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull for individual consideration?
I'd just like to ask a question about item 1. Is the amendment because of San Jacinto Day? Thank you.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Council, please cast your vote.
Mr. Mayor, again, the votes aren't appearing on the screen, but I can let you know that the motion has passed 4-0.
All right. Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. All right. So now we are moving back to our section for items for individual consideration. And this brings us to Resolution 644 of support for application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs by Sphinx Development Corporation in relation to the 2026 Housing Tax Credit Program. All right.
Hello, there we go. Do you want staff to make a presentation first or the applicant?
Why don't go with the staff first?
Okay. Give me just a moment. Sorry about that. Okay, this is simply a resolution. It's not an ordinance. And so the purpose of this relates to the property that you see on your screen right now. It's a location off of Corey A. Edwards Road, west of there. And what this resolution does is it signifies the city council's support for an applicant's proposal that they will be making to the state to acquire some housing credits in the furtherance of a housing development. Right? So once again, this is just a resolution. It's not an ordinance. It doesn't carry weight in that sense. The purpose for this is that this program essentially scores every application that they receive. And based on the quality of those applications and the points that they receive, applicants are granted this opportunities. Tax credits provide significant opportunities for the finance of projects that would otherwise not be viable. And applicants can utilize these tax credits to sell them, et cetera, to raise capital as necessary. It makes these projects more economically viable that otherwise wouldn't be. So that's the purpose of and what happens is when these applicants receive support from the city, they get a few extra points, right? It's a highly competitive program. A few points can make the difference whether or not they qualify for the state. So anyway, that's the reason why we're here today. They've requested the city council's support in furtherance of this action. And this is some of the information that they provided to us as a staff in terms of the nature of their proposed development. This is their concept at this point. This is pictures of what they've provided to us related to building renderings. And this is the actual resolution that's in your packet today. So once again, this is just us facilitating their request to the state. And it does not change any zoning on the property. It does not change any regulations in relationship to what's currently present on the property. It's just assisting them with their application to the state. You have any additional questions for me? If not, I'll ask the applicant to come forward and make their presentation. Go ahead.
Good evening. Ikemefanana Pali, 2501 Ascension Boulevard, Arlington, Texas, 76006. Ed did a great job of explaining exactly what we're here for. We're here for a resolution of support. It's a competitive process. This will allow us to stay in the competition and in order to get our housing development processed and on ground.
Any questions, comments?
I have a question. When I was reading through this, it said that you're interested in developing the above referenced properties consisting of 2 separate but contiguous parcels totaling approximately 5 acres. And then there was something in here about 1.3 acres, but I did not see how much is approximately.
So the plan is to develop 5 acres. The land currently right now is owned by 2 private owners. One is around 3.7 acres, and then the second contiguous parcel will be developing 1.3 out of the entirety, making it 5 acres.
So is it 5 acres or is it approximately 5 acres?
It's exactly 5 acres.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Just had a couple of questions for the applicant. Can you kind of briefly explain the difference between the 9% competitive application versus the 4% bond back application and kind of how you're approaching this development?
The difference is the 9% is a competitive process. The amount of tax credits are limited, and then the 4% is a non-competitive process you can submit year round.
Okay. And as far as tax credits go, are you looking for anything from the city of Kennedale in terms of tax credits, land, any other fees waived other than I think there's a nominal application fee that we're waiving of around $500?
Exactly, that's it. We're not asking to have any taxes abated. We're not requesting anything other than the $500 fee waivers.
Okay. And do you have any plans to participate in a public facility corporation, the housing authority ownership structure, or any other property tax exemption structure?
No, sir.
Got it. And then do you know what the projected tax values will be per unit once the property is kind of stabilized, if it moves forward?
The tax values per unit set anywhere approximately between 75 to 100,000.
And we're putting in how many units again? 60?
It'll be anywhere from 57 to 62 units.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Then I will entertain a motion. Hold that thought.
I was just reading over your letter. You said that you want to put townhomes in, but Old Town 4 allows townhomes, but Old Town 2 doesn't. So you would have to get this rezoned,
Correct.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 644 in support of the applicant to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs by Sphinx Development Corporation in relation to the 2026 Housing Tax Credit Program.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I will second.
All right, council, cast your votes.
I do want to interject one thing. Is it possible for us to remove the amount of units from the resolution? The exact amount of units from the resolution?
Is that material or can we cover that when it comes back for zoning?
At this point, it's just a conceptual. Nothing else has been approved, zoning or any conceptual planning. So it's
Fair.
your resolution. It's not going to matter one way or the other.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
And we do have a motion on the floor. Council, cast your votes.
Mr. Mayor, the votes are in. It has passed 3-1 with Councilmember Kobeck voting no.
Thank you. All right, the motion passes. And that brings us to number 4, an SRO contract with Kennedale ISD. Mr. City Manager. Sorry to interrupt your snack there.
I'm sorry, my throat is not acting correctly. Yes, this has been a work in progress for several months, and we've finally come up with an agreement with the Kennedale ISD. and the city of Kennedale and move forward with a new contract for our school resource officers. I'm glad to announce that some of the negotiations is now, we have saved roughly 50% of one of the salaries of the SRO. In the past, we have had two officers assigned to the school district at a 50-50 match. So in other words, basically, we're paying for one officer, the school is paying for one officer. With this new contract, basically the difference is now the school is paying 100% of one officer and we're splitting the second officer 50-50. So we're coming out on a better agreement to help supply an officer at 100% for the school, which will be assigned to the high school. That's the ultimate difference between the contract that we've had in the past and how we move forward once approved, moving forward for that.
All right. Open the floor for discussion.
I'm sorry, one more comment. As you can see, I handed out an adjustment to the SRO contract. And if you'll look on that sheet that I gave you, it's one of the higher bullet points. Dr. G had asked and requested that we put in that the school is just aware that the SROs may receive scheduled pay increases and cost of living increases approved by the city council throughout the term of the agreement. With that, I would like to make that amendment to the contract itself.
All right. Questions, discussion points?
Just a clarification on that. So we would personally have to approve individually their promotions or their increase in pay, or is this like an internal?
No, it's basically indicating, as we know, we have a pay scale for officers or our public safety. As one of them hits their anniversary, it will automatically include that increase.
In other words, this is just an amendment to ensure that someone isn't basically penalized for being an SRO.
That's correct. Or if the school doesn't want to pay that increase. That's correct.
Anything else? Then I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the SRO contract with the Kennedale ISD.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, please cast your vote.
Mr. Mayor, the votes are in, and
All right, the motion passes. And this brings us to item number 5, water bill termination extension up to 30 days. And Mr. City Manager?
Yes, for several years, we've had numerous complaints in reference to their water being shut off and obviously having to reconnect with a fee associated with that. With that, our policy in the past has been after 5 days, Arlington would come out, and if you have not paid your bill, they will shut your water off. And we've had several instances where either some of our residents have been on fixed income and waiting for a check to come in, or it's in that time frame, and they literally just have not been able to get it paid on time, or literally just 1 day shy of it. Also, we've had others that just, it's sometimes a 5-day delay. It's not, they're including weekends, and they're on the spot when they come out and turn it off. There's no lag time in between. What we're recommending is that we match what Arlington's contract, or I'm sorry, what Arlington's policy is for theirs, and which is a 30-day grace period. If it's not paid at that point, then the 5 days does take effect and they'll shut the water off. I recommend that we follow that same policy that Arlington puts on as well.
Yes, that would be nice. I think pretty much everybody knows now I got a nastygram threatening to shut my water off on the 12th. And it was when our mail didn't come for like 5 days with the storm. And I'm like, what? I've never missed a payment. And like, wow. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'll open the floor.
Mr. Mayor, this has been something that's been close to my heart for the last couple of months, something I've been working on with the city. I think I first noticed it on social media. There was some complaints how Arlington had a 30-day grace, but we didn't. And I felt that disparity needed to be fixed. As you said, things happen. I even got a late notice 2 weeks after the ice storm, so just a couple of days ago. And, obviously that's well past the time, if they had shut us off, but they didn't. But and just, with things, although I'm very confident in the economy this year, already this year's been crazy for my business. There's still a lot of people bailing themselves out from the last couple of years, and sometimes they just need a couple extra weeks, wait for that next paycheck. And if you ever been a stay-at-home mom or dad in my case, or you're looking after a senior, even those 5 or 6 hours before they can come back to turn it on is a long day for making a bottle or something along those lines. And you can't turn it on because the next time they come, they lock it on you, which happened to me. So, all right, this has been something that's been close, I've been working on. I just asked council to approve this and just match it from Arlington, give that grace period for our citizens.
All right. Any other?
If I'm not mistaken, a 30-day is actually pretty standard, isn't it?
It is.
To put it in perspective too, the gas company does 60, 90 days sometimes. Electric companies can be anywhere from 15 to 30 days as well. And so it's just one of those necessity of lives that we should give some grace on.
Anything else? Then I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, council, please cast your vote.
Mr. Mayor, the votes are in. They have voted all in favor, so the motion carries.
Thank you. All right. So at this, I am going to ask for a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Chapter 551.072, deliberation regarding purchase, exchange, lease, or value of rental property. And do I need to add any other code sections there? It is 7:39 p.m.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss section 551.072.
Do we have a second?
Second. We want to vote?
All in favor, just to, the motion passes unanimously. We're 7:39, moving into executive session. All right, it is 7:56. We're going to reconvene back into regular session. And I will ask for everybody's favorite motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, it is 7:57 PM and the meeting is adjourned.